All right, hello and welcome to Double Play Sports. I'm James alongside Pat. This is episode 34 of our podcast. Today we're going to be discussing and grading all of the free agency signings and trades that you need to know about, as well as giving our biggest winners and losers of the offseason so far and reacting to some hot takes you sent in. So let's get started hot, all right? Start off with the best free agent on the market, Aaron Judge. Re-signed with the Yankees recently. Arson Judge, however, is headed to the Giants, it appears, according to John Heyman, looking like he's going to be a stud for them. But what about Aaron? Signs with the Yankees after a lot of mixed reports. 9 years, 360 million. That's 40 a year. What are you grading this move?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple grade for me. It's not. Aaron Judge just hit 62 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as a bad signing. You could have paid him $10 billion over the next year. Be pretty bankrupt, but it's an A plus.
Yeah.
It's the
I
AL MVP.
I gave this an A. They didn't want to go 9 years, I'm pretty sure, from the start. And then the Giants raising the price forced them to go there. But overall, yeah, it's a great move for the Yankees. They would not have been a postseason team without him last year. The rest of the offense is just not even close to his caliber. They really don't have that solid of an offense besides him. So, I mean, Judge is the anchor there. He makes that team so much better. Next up is Trey Turner. Signed with the Phillies, like a lot of people suspected. 11 years, 300 million. That's 27 and change a year. I'm going to give this one an A. Definitely. Probably the best shortstop in baseball right now. Phillies locking him up. A long-term deal, but I mean, for how good he's been, a lot of people have worries about if his legs are going to last and if his athleticism is going to last. He seems like a guy that's going to be able to get it done well into his 30s. But what about you, Pat? What do you think?
Yeah, that's another clear A plus for me.
Mhm.
When you get into the range of about over, 250 million, the contract, it just doesn't mean that much to me. Like, unless you're a team that's on tight spending,
Yeah.
which the Phillies clearly are not,
Yeah.
uh, what's the difference? I mean, Trey Turner left money on the table to go to Philly, so I'm glad he wants to be there. That their lineup is very good. It has the opportunity to get stronger this year if you see fantastic offensive seasons. That honestly could happen from guys like
Yeah.
Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm and
Yeah.
Brandon Marsh. And that's an A plus for me.
It's this really scary lineup, and although they're still not fantastic defensively, I mean Turner's a good defender. He's or at least solid. He's better than Gene Segura, definitely. Next up, Xander Bogaerts headed to the Padres on an 11-year, $280 million deal. It was known that the Red Sox were in serious talks with him, and then the Padres, who offered much more than the last two guys signed for. They're like, let's go out and do it again. Let's get Xander Bogaerts. So, Pat, what are you grading the Bogaerts move? 11 years, 280, 25 and a half a year.
Yeah, this one kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I
Mhm.
was not expecting Bogarts to get an 11-year contract,
No.
and I wasn't expecting him to go to the Padres either. But I mean, the Padres threw money at everybody they possibly could. They offered 400 to Judge and 342 to Trey Turner, and they didn't get either, which is ridiculous. But 280 to Bogarts over 11. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. Like 25 and a half a year, that's pretty good. And it probably is because it's over 11 years,
Yeah.
which is a lot of years. But
What?
I gave it a B plus just
Hmm.
because, mostly because of the fit. It just seems
Yeah.
like they wanted a guy. Like,
Hmm.
obviously he's gonna help. I'm just worried about, especially with his injuries. I'm worried about Tatis having to potentially play the outfield.
Yeah, Tatis is such a wild card for next year, and we'll get more into that later in the offseason talk when we start breaking down teams. I gave this a B minus. As much as I love Bogarts, and I was really hoping he was going to sign with a contender, not Boston, because I don't think Boston's heading in the right direction.
Boston
Um,
stinks.
Boston is going to be not great for a few years, and Shane Bloom is going to be the most hated man in Massachusetts. I will say, though, I think the Padres offense is going to be better than the Dodgers next year. Like, there is not a hole in this lineup. Even Trent Grisham, who looks like he might be the biggest hole in the lineup, hit almost 20 home runs last year. So I love that lineup at the moment. And I love the fit. Bogart's playing short too because he improved so much defensively this year. Next up, Jacob deGrom headed to the Rangers, 5 years, $185 million. I'm not gonna lie to you. I cried. Okay, he's been my favorite player since like 2014. I love DeGrom, but 5 years, 185 is a lot. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was a lot of money. I mean, it really seemed like they didn't want to play in New York anymore, and that's this is a prime example of what. Of course, a different situation because he's a two-time Cy Young winner, but
Mhm.
it's like a good example of what the MLBPA has been fighting for. They want players to be allowed to reach free agency and have their be within their rights to go where they want to go, and he chose the Rangers. He Does it make that much sense to me, based off what he said he wants? I'm not really sure,
Mhm.
but he didn't like playing for the Mets anymore and, got a lot of money to do it. 5 years is risky with his injuries, and it's a lot of money over those 5 years, but, he is Jacob deGrom. I ended up giving it an A minus.
Okay, I went B plus, so we're in the same mindset pretty much. 5 years, 185 is a lot. Giving him the fifth year is a risky decision, especially because in that fifth year he's going to be like 39, 40 years old. He's not a young man anymore, and he's had some injuries. Although I do still believe when he is healthy, he's the best pitcher in baseball. So the Rangers are paying for that. They're willing to take the risk because Chris Young wants to spend. He does not want to stay mediocre. Although this team still isn't up to the par of the Mariners or the Astros, they are making some big upgrades, which is what I think Young wanted to do. I gave it a B plus, like I said. Moving on, another Met who was not on the move. He stayed in the Big Apple. How about Edwin Diaz? 5 years, $102 million, most money for a closer ever. What do you think about this move? I was very happy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a good move. Edwin Diaz just had one of the best years a closer has ever had. He struck out every single person that came up to bat or something like that. And you know, I don't know. I mean, they paid him. They paid
Yeah,
him. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't even want to let him sniff free agency. So I think it's a good
no,
move.
they
I
didn't.
I gave it I gave it an A plus.
I gave it. That was one of the two moves that I gave an A plus as well. I mean, you're getting the best closer in baseball back, and the guy who really anchored that bullpen to be a lot more solid than it had been in past years. That was one of the factors why I think they took such a big step last year. Um, Next up, Wilson Contreras. So I was very unsure wow, where Wilson Contreras was going to sign. I thought there were a lot of teams that could be in on him, but the Cardinals made their move. Yadier Molina is gone. He had been the starting catcher there since the dawn of time. And now you got Contreras for the next 5 years. 5 years, 87.5 million. That's 17 and a half per year. Pat, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it was a good move for the Cardinals. They definitely needed a catcher. That I mean
Yeah.
that was probably the biggest hole on any contending team
Yeah.
at any position. And so I think it's definitely a really good move. I mean, obviously, I mean the people been talking about Wilson Contreras, how much he's going to get paid since he came to the league in 2015 or 2016, whichever year it was.
Yep.
I'm not sure, but obviously they paid him, but that's what you got to do. I mean, the contract didn't even reach 100 million though, so
No.
I mean that's a good deal.
What do
I
you
gave it an A.
I gave it an A as well. There we go. Yeah, I think that was the guy for them. I think you had such an experienced veteran catcher with such a great baseball IQ for so long, and now you're bringing in another one who was a starting all-star last year. And although his second half wasn't as great, you got him for a lot more than a lot less, sorry, than people expected. A lot of people expected somewhere in like the 22 range. But 17 and a half per year for Contreras is kind of a great deal. So I'm very excited with that. Next up, how about them Mets? Billy Epler getting it done. Justin Verlander headed to the Mets, the AL Cy Young winner. Was Cy Young winner in 2019. Didn't play for 2 years. Pretty much comes back in 2022. How about another Cy Young for you? 2 years. Oh boy, 86.6 million. That's 43.3 a year. Oh geez. Okay, Pat, calm me down. What do you love about this move?
Well, what do I love about this move? I love that his name is Justin Verlander. Wears
Mhm.
really tight pants. He's always had kind of a stubbly beard. He's never really been one to grow it out.
Yeah.
He's married to Kate Upton. He's been on Jimmy Fallon when he didn't even play for a New York team. Are you kidding me? You know what major leaguers have gone on Jimmy Fallon? Derek Jeter,
Mhm.
Robinson Cano to make
Mhm.
fun of them,
Yeah, I remember that.
Aaron Judge,
Mhm.
Matt Harvey, because he got caught walking out of a hotel room with no clothes. That's a story, okay? It's
Yeah.
not. Justin Verlander is married to Kate Upton. He's got $1 billion in his bank account. He's come to pitch for the Mets. Nobody cares how much money it is. Steve Cohen has $10 billion. He gave him like -4% of it. It's fine.
Yeah. I gave this one a B plus. What about you?
I gave it an A.
The only reason I went a little bit lower is I am worried about his age. He really stayed healthy all of last year up until the very end. He had a little thing, and his performance in the World Series concerned some, but he's never really been a big World Series guy. But he is a winner. I will say that. All right. Maybe it's not him, but the teams he plays for consistently are some of the best. And I think he's got that mindset heading into this next season for him. Next up, another Met. Everyone was a free agent this year, as you know. But Taijuan Walker left for the Phillies. 4 years, $72 million. What do you think about this move, Pat?
I think it's a good move for the Phillies.
Mhm.
They get a guy that's been, at times a rock for the Mets over the
Mhm.
past 2 years. And he's a guy that was gonna slot into any contender if he chose to sign there as a great three starter. Maybe a four if your rotation is stacked, if not so much, a two. And for if he signed with a non-contender, he's probably your one, unless you're talking about a team like Arizona with Zach Gallen.
Yeah.
He didn't. It doesn't matter. He's on
No.
the Phillies. He's
Yep.
going to be the three. They paid him. They said, "Let's look at our second tier of relief of starting pitchers, and who do we want out of these guys? Or maybe like second and a half tier of
Yeah.
relief of starting pitchers. I keep
Yeah.
saying relief pitchers. And like, do we want to go get Quintana? Do we want to get Stripling?
Hmm.
Da, da, da. Do we want to pay Bassett? Do we want to pay? I don't know. Go for a Rodon, and they went for the guy that they thought was the cheapest and best option, and they paid him a little bit more to make sure they didn't have to bid for him. I have no problem with that. I think it's a great move. I gave it an A minus.
So here's where I disagree with you a little bit. You were like, he's been a rock at times. We got to specify on that at times stuff because he's pitched at an all-star level, but he's also pitched at not an all-star level. And that's something that Mets fans have grown to used to. I still think Taijuan is a fantastic pitcher. I just don't think he's an $18 million a year pitcher. I agree that the Phillies probably went a little bit higher to make sure they didn't have to bid for him. But realistically, he's slotting into a rotation that at its best is very, very good. But there were times last year where Aaron Nola was not great. Zach Wheeler was hurt. Ranger Suarez struggled. And then you got Taijuan Walker, who's not the most consistent guy. So I gave this a B minus. I still think it's a solid move for the Phillies, and I still think he's going to help their team a lot. But it's just something that's I'm a little bit unsure about.
Yeah.
Um,
Going into the offseason, I would have very comfortably paid Taiwan Walker anywhere from 14 to $16 million a year. So I have absolutely no problem going to 18.
okay, that's fine. Next up, Jamison Tyone headed to the Cubs, something that I had talked about a while ago. The Cubs looking for a starter. How about Tyone? 4 years, $68 million, 17 a year. What do you love about this move, Pat? What do you don't love? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's I really don't have much to say about this one. I think
Mhm.
Taiwan Walker is a good pitcher, not a great pitcher. I think the Cubs are a meh team, definitely not a team. They're a
Yeah.
meh team. They're not that great. Um, they could if they keep making moves. I think, in all honesty, it's going to be too difficult for the Cubs to do anything because unless they like go and pay people, because I don't think they want to do that. If they were to go and they were to like pay a Rodon and a shortstop, maybe we can start talking about a wild card. But if you get Rodon and a shortstop on top of what they have right now, you can start talking about a wild
Oh no, no. I'm saying that the Cubs are, I think, a little bit closer than you think, and here's why. You are going to be playing the Reds how many times? You're going to be playing the Pirates how many times? The Brewers seem like they could possibly be sellers. They
card.
said,
No, but uh, that doesn't mean as much anymore.
yeah, it doesn't mean as much
With the
anymore,
new
but
schedule, with the new scheduling rules, you're playing your in division a lot less.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But you're still playing them a good amount. And I mean, the Cubs, I still think they're maybe a trade and a big name player away from a
No, but
wild
they
card, maybe.
can't. The Cubs have a really poor farm system.
That's true. I mean,
It's really not good. I would
yeah,
love for them to go in the trade market, get a catcher because they just lost Contreras. I would
yeah,
love for them to trade for Sean Murphy. If they could get if they get Sean Murphy and a shortstop and I don't know, maybe sign Stripling and sign a guy with high upside like Manaya or something like that,
yeah,
like, then okay, we can talk, but I don't like the team. I think I wanna say Bellinger is,
yeah.
like, a good thing for them,
Yeah.
but I can't say that. I have to see it or else,
Yeah, I think
it's just
there's a lot of upside with this team because if we see Ian Happ great again, if we see what Seiya Suzuki really can do, if we see Marcus Stroman improve a little bit, because last year he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great. I still think if they go out and if they, I don't think they will go after Correa because I do think they want to go Horner long term at shortstop. But there's still definitely a chance that they go after Correa or Swanson. I think if you go after one of those guys and then either trade for a starter or sign like one of the starters you were just talking about, I think they have a legit shot to, I don't know about challenge the Cardinals, but definitely put the heat on them. I think Tyone is a good move. I gave it a B plus, and we already talked a little bit about Bellinger. We can talk a little bit more if you'd like. Um, the Dodgers didn't want him. He's worth a chance. I don't know if it's $17.5 million chance. I don't know if I would have paid that much for him. I know it's a prove it deal, but I
yeah,
gave that one a B minus.
I mean, it's a one-year deal. I don't really care. They don't have much on the payroll. A one-year deal at 17.5 is fine. The only problem is if he performs and you want him back, you're gonna have to sign him to like 5/120, maybe something like that,
Yeah.
you know? Like that's a tough deal to give out.
Yeah. Let's move a little bit quickly through the rest of this, guys. We kind of got through the top tier. Although Jose Abreu, I can't skip over him. Heading to the Astros coming off a great year. 3 years, $58 million, 19 and a half per year. Pat, talk to me.
I mean, this is a fantastic move. It's an A plus. It's
It's
pretty simple for me. Jose Abreu is had just had a fantastic year.
yeah.
Obviously, he's old. I don't
Mhm.
care. He's still good.
Yeah.
Um, Albert Pujols was 87 years old. He had an 894 OPS last year.
Yeah.
Jose Abreu's fine.
Pujols said he was 41. There's no way that man was under 60. I saw him limping out there. They should have given him a walk around the bases. But Jose Abreu, Astros, I think they probably would have loved to have him for 2 years, but a lot of people wanted him, so 3 years will have to do. I gave it an A. Robert Suarez, not a ton to talk about. I was kind of surprised by this. I mean, he's what, a 31-year-old relief pitcher coming off his rookie year, which was a very good year for a reliever, not gonna lie. Wasn't anything that was like jumping off the page. And they're like, hey, 5 years, $46 million. Didn't love it, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. A 3-year deal is usually pretty like that's even three. That's a lot to give a reliever.
Yeah,
Like oftentimes, even very good relievers will get like a 2-year deal. You
yeah,
know, like obviously you see a guy like Edwin Diaz. That's what gets you 5 years.
yeah.
It doesn't really go higher than that
No,
for a relief pitcher. But I mean, it's really random. I don't. It was random. I really don't know. I mean, it's not bad. I gave it a B. I don't
yeah.
think it's a bad move. I just think it's weird.
This
They
was
signed Suarez and Nick Martinez right at the beginning.
Yeah, this was my worst grade because I was really worried about the Padres rotation coming into the offseason. And I'm like, okay, they should spend a little bit of money. I know there's no salary cap in baseball, and if they want to spend 300 million, they can spend 300 million. Um, but I thought maybe they go out and try and sign like a Ross Stripling, and get like a solid starter option. But they're like, hey, Robert Suarez is our guy for the future, I guess. Hader's not cutting it as our closer. Maybe this guy will come in. I still think Hader will start the year as the closer, but I gave this a C minus. I didn't love this move. I think 9 million a year is too much for him based on only 1 year, and I think 46 million is a lot to guarantee to a guy that you've once again only seen 1 year of. I'm not trying to say Suarez is a bum in any way. He had a great year last year. I just don't love it. Um, yeah. Next up, Mitch Haniger. I saw this and I was like, okay, Judge maybe no, because why would they go out and sign another outfielder? But I do love this move for the Giants. 3 years, 43 and a half million, 14.5 a year. Great move for the Giants.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna start talking about it and not let me go first because I know you
Sorry.
like Mechanic. But obviously
I
it's a
love
good
Mitch.
move. I mean, 14 and a half is the perfect price for the
Yep.
team to get for him. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I mean, they've been paying Brandon Belt like 19 million for the past 47 seasons. They finally get him off the books, and they get Mitch Haniger, who has been just as good a hitter, with the exception of Belt's crazy year over the past
Yeah.
couple of years. And he's going to slot into the outfield. He'll play some solid defense, put a couple in the cove. He'll be good.
Put a couple in the cove. I love to hear it. RBI machine. Mitch Haniger is going to be on the Giants. I'm giving this chef's kiss. A plus. One of my only two A pluses. I love this move for the Giants. I love how he fits on their team. But next up, a little bit of a different view on this one. I have a feeling you might like this one a little bit more than me. How about Zach Eflin to the Rays?
Yeah, Zach Eflin. Zach Eflin is really interesting to me. I
Mm,
was really interested in the way the Phillies used him down the stretch. Obviously, with the acquisition of Syndergaard,
hmm.
uh, they also used him weird. They had Syndergaard usually in the playoffs was going 3 to 4 innings. I
Yeah.
don't know why they did that. I don't know if he can't throw more than 3 or 4
I don't
innings,
know.
which
That
is
was
a
weird. Let's talk a little about that. How about
which like
Syndergaard?
that's a major issue if he's gonna
Yeah.
sign with the team. If he can't go more than no, Syndergaard should probably be a closer, but
When they
um,
got to the postseason, though, I was like, okay, can you really trust Syndergaard in the rotation? Because it kind of seemed like once they acquired him, they're like, you want to pitch today? You're like, maybe. It
yeah,
was like once every 6 days, once every 7 days he was starting. I was like, okay, what's going on here? But I still think
yeah, but
Syndergaard has the ability to be a good starter or a great reliever.
yeah.
But
So
Eflin,
they throw Eflin as the closer, and that's probably the second they saw that they were the Rays. I mean, probably had hearts come down their eyes. Oh my God,
salivating.
he can do more than one thing. He
Yep.
can play multiple positions. Can
He's
he
like
pitch?
Ryan Stanek all over again. Oh my God.
I know. Yeah, they love their guys that can do more than one thing.
Mhm.
Um, and so they went and got him. This was a pretty early move in the free agency as well, which I mean probably means they loved him. I mean
Yep.
they probably loved him and went and paid him. I don't know. Zach Eflin usually has like like here's your all stars. He's
Hmm.
usually like here for the first half of the year,
Yeah.
and then by the end of the year he's like,
Yeah.
he keeps going down. But so we'll see what they do with him. I don't got much to say. It's
All
an
right.
interesting contract. I I gave it a B plus. I think it's
Okay.
okay.
I think that the Rays could have gotten a lot of different directions. I wanted them to go after a starter, although I do love how their rotation is right now. Like, don't get me wrong, the future is bright with that rotation. You got McClanahan, you got Glasnow, you got Baz, you got Rasmussen. I love that rotation. And I was hoping they were going to go for, I keep saying this guy's name because I love Ross Stripling, but I hoped every team was going to get Ross Stripling. Um, Eflin was not a guy I think deserves 40 million. I mean, he's never really been more than an okay, like four starter, maybe a 3-4 guy, but 40 million is a good chunk of price for him, and especially with a Rays team that doesn't like to spend on free agents, I don't think he was the right guy for them. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. He seems like a Rays kind of pitcher, but I gave this a C. Um,
Yeah, I truly think he could have a great year this year.
Maybe
Whether or not he's going to, I don't know.
we'll see.
Obviously,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think 330 would have been fantastic,
Yeah,
but
I think yeah, definitely. Um, Rizzo to the Yankees, 2 years, 40 million. I have a quote for you here, people. Rizzo's not going back to the Yankees because I'm bored with that. That was from Pat Thurier.
I
Um,
was bored with it. I'm still bored with it.
yeah,
But
he's
like I
gonna
said,
do his
you're
thing.
forgetting a quote. You're forgetting a
Oh, what's
quote
that?
from later in the episode. It was my impression of Yankees fans. Not my impression of Yankees fans. What Yankees fans are gonna say. He's Italian. He's got to play for the Yankees, and he does play for the Yankees. He is Italian. Playing the World Baseball Classic, hit a couple ding dongs. He'll be good.
Yep. So 2 years, 40 million. I think after everything, he's the right guy for the Yankees at first base. I gave this an A.
Yeah, I gave it an A minus just
Hmm.
because I don't really know. I don't like him that much. I'm bored with it. I think he needs to go. It's Vinny Pasquantano's time. We're done with this Rizzo stuff.
Yeah. Pasquitano, by the way, is an all-star sleeper next year. I love Pasquitano. Next up, Tyler Anderson said, "Nah, I don't need any of your quality offer. I'm an all-star pitcher, okay? And I want to play in LA, just not with the Dodgers. I'm gonna go to the Angels. 3 years, 39 million. Pat, talk to me about it."
Yeah, if I was Tyler Anderson, I would have re-signed pretty
Mhm.
quickly with the Dodgers. He's had a lot of movement in the past couple of years, and none of it's worked except the
Yeah.
Dodgers. So I think actually he was okay with Seattle down the stretch. Um,
Yeah.
but um, I think it's a decent move for the Angels.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna repeat. I think he should have tried to get a little more money though. I think he probably could have got a little more money with the
Yeah.
Dodgers, but
Here's what I'll say. Tyler Anderson, this is a A- move for you. For the Angels, this is an A+ move. I had three. I lied. I'm sorry. 13 million a year for a guy who just did that. That is a risk that the Angels need to start taking. They have been super conservative with their spending since 2014, the last time they made the postseason, even though they've had the two best players in baseball since then. It's just been slow in Anaheim. Tyler Anderson, that's a risk you're willing to take. 3 years, 39 million, you take it. I don't know how much of a risk it is. That's why I love it too, because it's got such a high upside. I gave this an A+. Let's go Rafael Montero. Go.
Rafael Montero, good move, paid him, good, boom, bam, done.
Grade.
Grade A,
Ooh,
I
wow.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Astros get Rafael Montero, a guy who's coming off a great year for 34.5 million. That's a lot for a reliever who's
Uh,
not your closer. I gave it a B. Whatever. You don't know what you're gonna get from it. It could be three really crappy
I
years.
know exactly what's gonna happen. He's gonna have it like this year, 58 innings, strikes out 81,
Wow.
two 2.71 ERA.
Okay. Sounds good. Josh Bell. Did not see him going to the Guardians. We both predicted Abreu was going to be their DH of the future, but how about Bell? I love it. 2 years, 33.
Yeah, Josh Bell, I don't love it because I
Oh,
loved Abreu,
yeah.
and Josh Bell makes me nervous sometimes. I He's just inconsistent. That
Yeah.
bothers me. But he's a switch hitter. He's on the Guardians. He's not on a team that's expected to win, which I think is good for him. Um,
Yeah. I
no,
mean, the Guardians.
not like
Yeah.
a team where that's not what I meant to say. What I
Yeah.
meant is like he's not on a team where he's like gonna be an additional piece. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
be like in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be batting like six behind 87 guys who just all had their fun, and now it's his turn to bat with
Yeah.
two outs and no beyond because
Yeah.
Ha-Seong Kim just hit a sacrifice fly. But he's gonna hit.
Oh,
He's gonna hit right there with you know
Naylor.
right what?
Naylor, maybe. Sean Murphy. I want to
Yeah,
see Sean Murphy in Cleveland.
he'll probably bat maybe four, more likely five,
Yeah.
maybe six. I don't know. Depends what they want to do. At the top of their order, whether Ramirez is batting three or two or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave it an A. He went, what did you give it?
Hey,
Okay. He went for less years than I expected, and he went for less AAV than I expected. So good move for the Guardians. Kenley Jansen, Red Sox closer, 232, 16 million a year. He's coming off a string of pretty good years, never like elite, but he is a good closer, even though he's getting a little bit older. Pat, what'd you think?
yeah, Kenley Jansen, I thought this was a good move.
Mhm.
I think the Red Sox have a lot of other problems, but
Yeah.
if they're gonna fix something, they might as well fix the bullpen. Which actually, like, it doesn't really need that much fixing. Their bullpen now with these two moves, this one, and I'm just gonna say it now, the Chris Martin deal, they
Chris
signed him
Martin.
2 years, 17 million.
Yeah.
Um, I think their bullpen's very good. I think
Uh,
if
it's getting
I
there. It's
think their
getting there.
bullpen's very good.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it appears they're going to have to take Garrett Whitlock out of it because he's going to be starting this year. But they still have Hoop, they still have Schreiber, they have what's the other guy? I'm
Uh,
missing a guy.
I
I'm missing a guy.
well, Martin, Kenley Jansen, Schreiber, dog. Um, Oh my God. I never
I'm
mind.
pretty sure I'm missing it. Hold on. We'll get there.
Maybe.
Did I say Hook?
Yeah, you did. Okay, well, I'm just gonna say this as we keep this going. Chris Martin gets an A, Kenley Jansen gets an A minus. Good moves for the Red Sox. Address the pen. Now you need to just address the rest of your team.
Sawamura.
Sawamura, he's pretty good as well. Okay. What'd you give Jansen and Martin?
A. A.
All right, cool. Quintana to the Mets. Love this move.
Yeah,
226.
Jose Quintana, that's a good move. He's, I think, like, uh, this is his 87th MLB season, I think. He just had a fantastic year at a
Yeah.
2.93 ERA. That was very impressive. Not really sure how he did that. I
Yeah.
thought he was gone in the wind with Francisco Liriano, but he is a good move for the Mets and for him. I think. I think 13 million's pretty good price for him. If I were him, I would have said, "Hey, this is my last contract. Give me something here. Give me 15, 16." But
Yeah. He
nobody's
was.
complaining about $26 million.
No.
But yeah, I think it's a
Great.
good move. I mean, it can't not be a good move.
What's your grade?
Probably an A, something like that. Yeah.
I gave it A minus. I like that move for the Mets. I think he becomes a very, very good 3 or 4 starter for them at the moment. Andrew Henney to the Rangers. Great move. 225 after what he did for the Dodgers last year. I thought the Dodgers were either going to overpay or someone was going to overpay for him, but 225 is sweet spot. Chris Young does it again.
Yeah, no, I really don't think it's a sweet spot. I think he
No?
got underpaid.
Okay. I think
Um,
perfect for the Rangers is what I'm trying to say.
oh yeah, for the well, perfect for the Rangers would be, hey, come play for free. But
Yeah.
I think I think it's a good move. I think you slot him in your rotation. You pray that not John Green, Jesus, John Gray figures out how to pitch like a major leaguer.
He was
Um,
okay last year.
he
Sub
was
4 ERA.
okay. Trying to win a
Ah,
freaking division here. Come on. Yeah. So you slot him in there. He'll probably. I don't know. I don't care how the Rangers align their rotation. It'll be pretty good.
yeah.
He'll be the 3 or the 4. They'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Kershaw back to the Dodgers, 20 million. James, what do you think? Hit me with it.
Pat, I gotta tell you, man, I like this move for the Dodgers. I think they got him for less money than he could have gotten. I know the injury problems there, but I mean, he is still a very, very good pitcher. I gave this move an A. I also gave Henny an A because we didn't talk about Henny.
Yeah, so Clayton Kershaw's kind of pissing me off lately. He keeps
Mhm.
signing 1-year deals, and it's really annoying to see his name on the free agent list every year. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna retire. Oh, I'm gonna sign with the Rangers. Get out of here. You're re-signing. Just get over yourself.
All right.
Next up, Matt Strom to the
Yep.
Phillies, signed a 2-year, $15 million deal. I love this move. I wanted him on every single team in Major League Baseball. Why do you say that? He wasn't that good last year. Yeah, but he's a lefty and he's got really long hair.
And
Um,
also, he can throw multiple innings. That's a big thing, and quality innings too. I gave this an A.
yeah, I as well give it an A. Carlos Estevez, I didn't realize he was good.
Yeah.
But good for the Angels. Kind of random. They get a relief pitcher
Yeah.
besides Jimmy Hergert. Uh, good stuff for them.
A minus for me.
I gave it a B plus.
Okay. Mike Clevenger, White Sox, 1 year deal. Whatever.
Yeah, sure, that's fun. He's probably gonna have like a 4.06 ERA or something like that.
He
It'll be
gets he gets
annoying.
a B. Who cares?
Yeah.
Kyle Gibson to the Orioles, random. So random.
Well, yeah, because I this is what I said at the beginning of offseason. Teams like the Orioles that just had good years when they weren't supposed to, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make a move. We're gonna be good," and then they sign fill in the blank that was better than he was supposed to be last year, and it's just it usually doesn't work out. Like they did it a while back with Alex Cobb. That went really poorly. Uh, and so that worries me for the Orioles because I want them to do well. I mean, Adley Rutschman obviously is a superstar, just waiting to be allowed to be called a superstar.
Right.
And I mean, I'm excited to watch this team. I really, really want to root for Ramon Urias and Jorge Mateo and guys like that on the team. But it's gonna be tough for them to do what they did this past.
Yeah. I gave this one a C minus. I mean, Gibson has been obviously going like this the last few years. So I mean, it is what it is for the Orioles. He's could be like Jordan Flyles again for you, who's very like he got you your innings, but not someone who's gonna like lead a staff that's truly has a chance to make a little bit of a run. Next two were moves that happened since we started figuring out our grades. Masataka Yoshida heading to the Red Sox. 5 years, 90 million. Pat, what do you think about this?
Yeah, Masataka Yoshida, he got a pretty good deal here from the Red
Mm.
Sox.
Hmm.
Obviously coming over for the first time. I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah.
I think, it's one of the like top overseas destinations, Red Sox, Yankees, those
Yeah.
guys. Um, it's exciting. It's got to be exciting for him. He gets to come over here, play in Boston, put on the classic Red Sox jersey. They paid him a lot of money to do it. He's got to be happy about that. I mean, that's all right for the Red Sox. I still don't think their team's that good. I think it would be, I don't know. They could do something funky like trade Devers, try to
Yeah.
get a package back, like trade Devers, uh get Adamas, Ashby, Frelick, Mitchell, like a huge package from the Brewers.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd like the Red Sox then, but I don't right now. I don't think they're that good a team. But I'm
No.
excited for Masataka Yoshida. I think it's a decent move for the Red Sox. I give it a B. I see nothing wrong with it, except I would want to pay him like 3 to 4 less $1 million a year.
Yeah. I thought he was going like 460 when the offseason started. I thought that was pretty realistic for him. I gave it a B too. I think it's a smidge of an overpay. And I think Shane Bloom was like, oh my God, everyone's making moves. Let me do this.
Yeah,
Pretty much right after he was posted, they signed him. But also you have to remember that's $90 million plus 15 because of the posting fee. So really
yeah,
they're paying 100
it's true.
plus $1 million for Masataka Yoshida. I don't think he's worth that much, but please, Masataka Yoshida, prove me wrong because you seem like you're going to be a very fun player to watch. Finally, and this one, I was doing my calc homework. I'm sitting in my room and I go, yeah, baby. Brandon Nimmo is back with the Mets. 8 years, 162 million. 8 years. I was like, okay, 8 years. Ground yourself, James. And then I was like, yeah, baby. So, Pat, what do you think about Nimmo?
Yeah, yet another Mets move where one of us cried. Tears of joy this time.
Hmm.
Brandon Nimmo back with the Mets, 8-162. He played a full season. It's $1, 1 million for every game. I love to see it.
Yep.
162. Good stuff. That what's it, 25 a year?
22.5 a year. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good price for Nimmo. Obviously, that's probably the AAV is probably, down a little bit because they did give him an 8-year deal,
Yeah.
which I don't really see a problem with. It seems like he's a guy that's going to be on the Mets forever. So if it's
Yeah.
going to happen, it's got to happen one way or another. Might as well do it now.
So instead of I was leaning between A minus. I went with A minus. 8 years is a long time. Nimmo's hasn't really had a lot of injury problems, but there have been times where he kind of gets into a little bit of lulls where he's kind of just out there playing. But overall, he is a very good player. Nimmo is probably a top 5 or 6 center fielder, so that's exciting. We're gonna skip over the trade
Yeah.
grades because we're running a little bit long at the moment. All in
Hold
now.
on. I got this. Let me
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, you go.
Let's get Brooks Raley from the Rays for Keyshawn Askew. Brooks Raley, great move for the Mets, great left-handed reliever. Keyshawn Askew, he hasn't made it very high in the ranks, but he's been very successful where he is. Also a left-hander, decent move for the Rays. Braves acquired Joe Jimenez from the Tigers, good move for the Braves. Obviously, he's a good pitcher. Tigers get back Justin Henry Malloy and Jake Higgin, Botham. I think that's a good move for the Tigers because they got a decent prospect out of relief pitcher, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Um, Mariners get Colton Wong and Cash. Good for the Mariners, I guess. I don't know. He can
Cool.
still kind of play
All right.
defense. Hold on, I'm not done with this trade. We can circle back. Brewers get Jesse Winker. Cool. I hope he does well. That'd be really awesome. And Abe Toro. I think he's still supposed to be good. I'm not really sure if we're still high on him or not. Angels acquire Hunter Renfro. Fantastic Brewers, why? They get Jansen Junk, Elvis Presley, and Adam Seminaris, uh, Elvis Peguero. I think the Brewers got a relief pitcher, and they threw a couple prospects in there and said, "Hey, take our big bat who has a great arm and is good defensively." That makes sense. Mariners get Teoscar Hernandez. They get a much needed outfielder. Very good move. Brewers, however, do get Adam Macko, pretty decent level prospect, and Eric Swanson. What?
That's the type of Blue Jays get Adam Macko and Eric Swanson.
What I say?
You said Brewers. It says
Oh
Brewers on the picture. Yeah.
no, mine does say Blue Jays.
Oh, huh.
That was me.
Well,
Don't.
that's wild because I'll show you this right now on my sheet. Oh, it's not going to be able to show because the Cubs are there.
You're not going to show it to me.
On my sheet, it says Teoscar Hernandez. Wow, Hernandez to the Mariners from.
Willie Hernan Gomez.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so we both messed it up, but it is indeed the Blue Jays. They get Adam Macko, like I said, he's a pretty good prospect,
Yep.
and Eric Swanson, who just had a obviously fantastic year. I honestly do think that the Blue Jays should have gotten a little bit more in this
Mhm.
deal, but
Little bit,
I
yeah.
don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I'll go quickly through them. I think Mets win
Oh
the.
yeah, I hold on. I gave Mets A, Rays A, Braves A, Tigers A, Mariners B plus, Brewers B plus, Angels A, Brewers B minus, Mariners A, Blue Jays A minus.
Okay. I went Brooks Raley that the Mets win that trade. I mean, Keyshawn Askew is or Askew, however you pronounce it. He seems like a Rays kind of pitcher, kind of like a guy that's gonna come out of nowhere for them, have 2 really good years, and then they'll trade him in the future. I gave the Mets an A for this one and a B plus to the Rays. I think they could have gotten a little bit more. Raley's a very good pitcher. I mean, Joe Jimenez, don't get me wrong, is coming off a great year, but he also has a history of great inconsistency in his career. So I gave the Braves a B. I gave the Tigers an A. I mean, wow. Justin Henry Malloy is a great prospect to get back for Jimenez. Jake Higginbotham, I don't know too much about him, but he seems like a stud with a name like that. Colton Wong for Jesse Winker and Abe Toro. Why did this move happen? I saw this on the day DeGrom signed, and I was like, what is happening here? But Wong to the Mariners, they needed a second baseman. They got that. And Jesse Winker and Abe Toro, I read this, were their 2 lowest WARs last year. So they get those off the books. They both just were not fits in Seattle. Toro, I've kind of given up on. He's a career utility man off the bench, probably.
Man, Jesse Winker had a rough year.
Winker went from, we had him ranked as the second best left fielder before last year. He had negative like 15 outs above average and was a below league average hitter. But I do think he could still thrive in his career. I think Seattle was just not it. So I do think the Brewers win that. I gave them a B plus. I gave the Mariners a B. Teoscar to the Mariners, that's an A plus. What a bat to get. And Adam Macko and Aaron Swanson, I agree, they could have gotten a little bit more, but both those guys are very good. I gave that a B plus. Renfroe to the Angels, A plus for the Angels. What a move. Jansen Junk, Elvis Peguero, Jailhouse Rock, and Adam Seminaris to the Brewers. And I wrote Blue Jays for this one. I got them mixed up. Oh my God. So they're going to the Brewers. I gave the Brewers a C minus for this. Why? That was not a great, like Jansen Junk might just be a stud out of their pen. The other 2 guys I don't know too much about, but neither of them are really that highly ranked. And Renfroe is a guy that can hit 30 home runs while playing very solid defense. So I gave the Angels an A plus for that. Pat, it is time for our biggest winners and losers
Hold
of
on,
the
hold on, hold
offseason.
on. I have one more trade to talk about.
Yep.
Trade that happened a little while back. Obviously, it's not one that we would usually talk about because it was a purely minor leaguers trade.
Hmm.
Doesn't happen often. Why am I bringing this up? That's because Xavier Edwards, a top prospect for the Rays, was traded to the Miami Marlins earlier in this offseason.
Huh.
And I don't think a lot of people know about that.
Interesting.
Because he's legitimately a top prospect. He rose through the ranks with Wander Franco and had a little setback in the past couple of years that had Franco go ahead.
Yeah.
And him stay behind.
Yeah.
Now he's on the Marlins, where he's almost definitely going to get a shot at some point this year. I'm excited for that.
Him and Jordan Groshans, future middle infield for the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest winners and losers. Pat, give me with your third, second, and first biggest winner, and then talk a little bit about him.
All right. So let's see who's winning. Sorry. I think the Phillies are a team that's winning. Most definitely. Trey Turner, fantastic. Taijuan Walker, fantastic. Matt Strahm, fantastic. How'd they get him? They overpaid for 2. Matt Strom, who cares? It's a reliever. Paid him 7.5. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a very good job. Trey Turner is arguably the most dynamic player in baseball.
Mhm.
Taiwan Walker is a very good rotation piece. He's extremely talented. He's gonna start every third spot in the rotation, maybe fourth, depending how they're feeling about Ranger Suarez on the day. Um, Also, I think the Mets are winning, maybe not before last night, but
Mhm.
after last night, I think they definitely are. Obviously, Diaz was great. Verlander is the reigning Cy Young. Jose Quintana is the reigning underrated player of the year. Re-signing Nimmo was a must-have. And also one we didn't talk about, David Robertson, who just had a fantastic year after I don't know where he went. He
Yeah.
was in Australia for the past
They
couple of
played in the
years.
Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, he played in the Olympics. That was really random.
Yeah.
He did some tryouts, ended up going to the Cubs, and then 2 weeks later he was on the Phillies. It was really, really crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but now he's on the Mets. He's 89 years old and he's ready to go.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Oh wait, I still have one more winner.
One more winner.
One more winner is the Texas Rangers because they signed Jacob deGrom.
Well,
Do I have losers?
not yet. I want to do my winners first.
Okay.
Um, we had the exact same 3 winners. That's wild. Third place, I had the Rangers. DeGrom, Andrew Heaney. They needed some more pitching to complement Martin Perez and maybe John Gray. And they did that. Chris Young did that. Number 2, I had the Mets, and we're going to talk about a hot take later that seems very ill-timed based on what the Mets did the day right after he wrote that. But the Mets, I
So
mean,
personally,
you replaced DeGrom with arguably the best pitcher that you could have in their situation. I mean, I would
yeah.
like Rodon a little bit more just for our future, but for the right now, Verlander's the guy. You make some big upgrades to the bullpen. You get Brandon Nimmo back, I think, and Quintana too. Great overall, and Diaz. Diaz, oh my God. And then, I mean, you got Diaz, Raley, and Robertson in the offseason so far. Very underrated bullpen coming together for the Mets. And then number 1's the Phillies. I mean, you went to the World Series. You obviously lost, but you come back around swinging with Trey Turner, Matt Strom, and Taiwan Walker. Kind of hard to lose while doing that. Hit me with your 3 losers so far, Pat.
Um, I think losers are a little tougher to do,
Mhm.
definitely for sure. Gotta think about good teams that aren't active.
Yeah,
That's how you find your losers. So, oh boy, sorry, I'm eating a Snickers. Uh,
of course you are.
the Dodgers
Hmm.
being a little weird this offseason.
Yeah,
They're letting their pitchers walk right now,
yeah.
which is weird. That's not something they would usually do.
No.
But obviously we're hoping Dustin May is going to be able to play a full season this year, and that Tony Gonsolin can just stretch it out a little bit more. And they're not really going to have rotation issues, but
Well, I mean, there's a lot of injury maybes there. Like
well,
Kershaw's
yeah,
not
I know,
really.
but
Yeah,
I'm saying if
gotcha.
it's a full season all put
Yeah,
together, then it's a good rotation. I think Kershaw still worries me that he's just going to fall apart at some point, but he hasn't yet.
no.
And I think they probably need to sign one more starter. I would like them to. Um, and it's not easy to replace Trey Turner in your lineup. Do they have to?
Especially too when you refuse to sign Carlos Correa. I think they definitely could. I think that this has something to do with the fans don't want Carlos Correa. Like they want Carlos Correa, but they're like, God, this guy, really? This is who we're going with?
Well, I mean, let's just think about it. A guy that was hated by a fan base, not at and not for just because like, oh, he played for the rival team and he beat us a bunch.
He
Not
cheated.
not like that. But like, for example, a Chase Utley.
Yeah.
If Chase Utley was a little bit younger when that happened, and say in 2018 in the offseason, Chase Utley signed with the New York Mets.
Yeah.
Was there ever any way he was going to play with the Mets and like do anything without being booed and hated? I mean,
And
it
exactly,
just
he's
doesn't
he's
fit.
in a very similar situation if you were to go with that scenario because he went from
Yeah,
rival team,
yeah.
messed some shoot up, and then yeah. So obviously, Chase Utley, go away. But
Yeah, so like it's a difficult thing. You know, it's pretty simple on how you lose an off season. Like I just said, you're a good team that doesn't do anything. And for me, I think a team that's losing the offseason so far is the White Sox.
hmm,
I think it was pretty crucial for them to make some moves, and they haven't so far. And I'm gonna stay right there, and I'm gonna say the Twins
okay.
because they haven't made a single move.
So I'm following a little bit of a similar path. I actually came up with sorry, four because I couldn't pick between the last two. I had Dodgers slash White Sox as my last two, both teams that needed to make a move. The Dodgers, because they lost so many of their key players, I thought, okay, they'll bring some guys back. They really haven't so far. It was just Kershaw so far. And the White Sox, I follow a lot of White Sox fan pages and stuff on Double Play. We follow a lot of them, and I'm going through the stories. I'm like, what are we doing? Jerry, spend some money, please. Our largest contract ever is Yasmani Grandal. That's not okay. That's all what they're saying, which it's not okay. He's a-okay giving 200 million to Zach Levine, but he can't spend any money on the White Sox. But they are getting desperate. Today I saw someone say Gallo or Conforto. Is that our superstar next year? That's not great, guys. So we're gonna move on. My next one is the Milwaukee Brewers. That Renfroe
Mm,
trade is gross. Oh, what are you guys doing? It seems like they're kind of just they haven't made any moves. Everyone around them's kind of gearing up. The Cardinals really haven't made too many moves. Or
well,
am I they're
they got what's his butt
yeah,
contract.
yeah, Contreras. But the Brewers, I don't love what
Have you,
they've done.
hold on. Have you ever had a payday bar?
I have, yeah.
They're good.
They're okay. I've
Yeah,
never really liked payday bars. They're kind of just like
they're
peanuts.
good.
Yeah, I might have to retry it. It's been a minute.
I
Um,
never knew that they were good. It was my first time.
really?
Hmm.
Okay. Number one, the Boston Red Sox. You lose your best player. You really don't address the pitching staff. You bring in Masataka Yoshida. You bring in some solid bullpen arms, but overall, it hasn't been a great one for them. Um, okay, it is hot take time. We have been sent in a lot of hot takes. Usually we just get like two or three. This time we got a ton.
All right,
Let's start off. We're
we're
gonna
gonna do
go
quick reactions. Hit me rapid fire.
rapid
I'm gonna say it
fire.
as quick as it comes to my head. First thing I
I-
think of.
I'm gonna say this one with a grain of salt because it was sent right before last night. Mets GM Billy Epler has not done a good job.
Yeah, it's okay. We get it. You made a mistake. He
Yep.
fixed it. We're good. Move on.
You are forgiven. That was the guy who's won back-to-back Trivia Tuesday. So congrats to you, sir.
Mm.
Orioles will sign Carlos Rodon and Carlos Correa.
No, they will not. Next.
Phillies overpaid for Trey Turner.
No, they did not. Next.
Diamondbacks in five.
Shut up. Next.
Rangers overpaid for Jacob deGrom.
Maybe a little. Doesn't matter. Next.
Red Sox won't miss Xander Bogaerts last year and will be a postseason team this year.
Next.
Um, Scherzer is the best pitcher in the world.
Next. Almost, but next.
Yankees and Aaron Judge fall off and lose in the wild card.
No, maybe.
Mhm.
Move on.
Yankees win the World Series and Nestor Cortez wins World Series MVP.
Could happen.
Yeah.
Next.
Edwin Diaz is a better trumpeter than Louis Armstrong.
Probably not. I don't know if Edwin has ever actually
I think
played the trumpets.
I
I don't
think he
know.
meant Timmy Trumpet, but we'll see.
No, but that's not what he said. He
Yeah.
said Edwin Diaz. Um, I don't know. Maybe if you give Edwin some lessons,
hmm
I better figure it out. But as of right now, I think uh, it's a wonderful world. Uh,
you know what? I think Edwin right now is chilling with Timmy Trumpet in Australia. I believe he's from Australia. Steve Cohen said gave him 20 million, like or 100 million. 99 million of that is to become the greatest trumpet player ever. They're dropping the duet next year, new walk-in song. Shohei Ohtani traded to the Mets or the Braves. This guy thinks he's getting traded in the NL East.
probably not going to be traded at all. Probably
Yeah,
going to be a off season. Unfortunately, I wish they
yeah.
would trade him.
I think the Angels are about to be like I think the Angels are about to have to pull like a 2011 to 2015 Astros or 2014 Astros where they just are so bad because this, like, as much as I love the moves they're making, they're about to lose Otani. And to be completely honest, if they don't make some big improvements, I think Trout might not be too far behind him. I think he wants to be a lifetime Angel, but I don't know, man. This gotta hurt. If they miss this year, this is the 10th straight year they will miss the playoffs. That's
I don't know.
unacceptable.
They gotta that Rendon contract's not gonna work unless he
No.
figures it out.
Joey
I mean, how
Gallo,
much money are you gonna pay Shohei Otani? All of it, right?
$500 million, 50
Yeah,
million a year.
all of it.
Yeah.
He's
Joey
fit.
Gallo
I
will be
mean,
top.
here, based off his performance last year,
Mhm.
I would give that pitcher, or based off his performance in his career,
Yeah,
I
as
would
a
give
pitcher.
that pitcher, but like coming off this year, if
Yeah.
he was a free agent right now, I would give him a similar contract to Carlos Rodon, probably like 30 to 35 a year.
I'd say 27 to 30, but yeah.
As a bat,
30.
coming off that year, it's gonna be a little lower than it would have been,
Yeah.
but
But
still, like I would say 25 to 30.
yeah.
So at the low end, that's 55. Oh, sorry, I farted. Oh, it happened again. Um, at the high end, oh God, I'm sorry, I went out to lunch.
Third time's the charm.
Um, at the high end, that's 65. But you got to take a discount because obviously. So you take a 10% discount. It's probably more than that. Like a
Yeah.
20% discount because he's only one player. Um. Oh
Oh,
God.
jeez.
I
You
feel
gotta
like.
get technical difficulties.
Hold on. Just look at my hand for a little bit,
Mhm.
okay? It'll be fixed after that.
Okay.
That's gonna be like 45 to 55 million a year
Yeah.
on the
50 a
spectrum,
year.
and my face is no longer in the
It's
picture.
okay. Don't mess with it. Just leave it because
Oh,
it's
it's
thinning.
okay. It should stay like that.
Here's the last two. These ones are pretty bold. Joey Gallo will be top 10 in the MVP next year.
Top 10 in the MVP, probably not.
No,
Probably not.
probably not.
But I wouldn't 100% put it past him. I would put it about 91% past him. But
91. That's generous. Jeez.
I feel comfortable saying there's a 9. I feel comfortable saying there's a 4% chance he does that next year.
Finishes top 10 in MVP. I think if he goes to like the Rockies and just finds his hitting
I don't know
ability,
why people just don't do that.
yeah.
Everybody that can't hit anymore should go to the Rockies.
I mean, even though Chris Bryant didn't have as much pop
No,
this year, he hit 320 and was
no,
still
but
like,
he did. He did. He figured out the pop thing because
yeah,
he
a
had like
little bit.
0 homers in the first like 89 billion games,
Up
and
until
then he
like
hit a
June,
bunch.
and people were like, okay, what's going on? The final one. Now, this one I couldn't agree with more. If the Yankees gave Peter Trout a contract, they would be World Series favorites.
Yeah, I mean, how could you disagree with this one? I
Yeah.
mean, Peter Trout, he's a young kid born in the USA, but now he's coming out of the Dominican Republic. I mean, he's really fantastic down there. He runs a 4.140. Uh, on the 20/80 scale, they're giving him an 80 with the power. A 70, I think, with the contact. Obviously, an 80 on the speed, and his pop time is actually 1.2. So,
Yep. You can throw the ball well too.
how can you not love this kid? I mean, we talk Otani 45 to 55. Peter Trout's got to be 75 to 95 a year at the very least, and you got to think that's at least probably a lifetime contract, probably with a Supreme Court nomination coming along with it. Uh, probably in line for dictator of the United States if
Mhm.
we ever get to that point as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, how can you not love the kid?
Generational talent for sure. Gotta love PT. This one's dedicated to you. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Try a payday bar.
Happy holidays. Yeah, try a payday.